Hello and welcome to another edition of the Second String here on KRNU2. I'm your host, Nate Mielbach. Joining me tonight, Alex Fernando. How you doing tonight, Alex?
Fantastic. Glad to be back on air. Had to cancel last week because of the snowstorm, but
Indeed.
it should be a good show.
Yeah, it should be a really good show. Honestly,
we're always going to think it's a good show.
I hope you guys think it's a good show.
It's kind of up to them, not us.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Like we said, we're here on Mondays from 7 to 8. This is new. We were on Tuesdays last semester, but we had to change it due to scheduling conflicts. And because of all the bad weather, we were off last week. So it might be a little shocking to hear you guys, but stick it out. Stick with us. We'll give you some great sports news. We have a lot to talk about today.
Yes, we do. And, we're going to jump back a week and start off with the AFC and the NFC championships, what led us to the Super Bowl that is coming up this coming Sunday.
Yes.
What game do you want to start with, Nate? I'll let you pick.
Let's talk about the Vikings versus Eagles because I think that's a less exciting game.
Yeah, we'll probably just get that one out early. I'm sure our friend Bailey and all our other Vikings friends are probably not wanting to listen too much to this, but
no,
Eagles come
not
away
particularly
with the NFC Championship 38-7 victory over. Am I using the wrong microphone again?
You are using the wrong microphone.
Is this the right microphone? Hey, this is the right microphone. Why? People mess with this way too much. Okay.
We had 20 minutes before the show. We should have checked this.
We should have. That's our bad.
But start again over on the Vikings versus Eagles.
Okay, well, jump into the NFC Championship. We have Philadelphia and Minnesota. Eagles take it 38-7, and a lot of people were not expecting this.
No, I wasn't expecting this. I told everybody that could listen, I thought the Vikings were going to roll.
Yeah.
They had all the momentum. I thought they had the better quarterback. I thought they had the...
Now, do remember that Nick Foles was a Pro Bowler.
Okay, let's not go too far.
I'm not saying he's a great quarterback, but he's putting up good numbers. He's playing really well. And, no, I don't know. I was very impressed because, much like you, I thought the Vikings kind of had it locked up. You're right. All the momentum coming after that big play with the Saints. The Eagles, again, everybody's questioning, can Nick Foles really do this? He's not Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is the guy.
Yeah, he didn't do that, but he played his best game I've honestly ever seen him play beyond that one game where he threw for like 6 touchdowns and broke the single game touchdown record. I think this is his next best game I've ever seen him play. It was
really the only Nick Foles game I remember is the 2009 Holiday Bowl where Arizona played Nebraska and Ndamukong Suh just demolished Nick Foles every single play.
He demolished everyone. Yes. I also remember that game. I remember the game where he threw 6 touchdowns, and that was a product of a really spectacular Philadelphia offense when he was there the first time. And this time, I just didn't think they have that. I mean, Philadelphia has solid skill position players. They don't have bad ones. Like LeGarrette Blount, Jay Ajayi, Zach Ertz, Alshon Jeffrey, Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah.
They're all solid players.
But not like star breakout guys.
Yeah, they're not going to elevate whoever's playing under center, like, say, the Pittsburgh crew of skill position
Le'Veon
players.
Bell, Antonio Brown, that kind of crew. You're right. They don't have quite the big star talent that a lot of other teams have as weapons, but one thing they do have that I think gets overlooked quite a bit is their offensive line.
Their offensive line is very solid.
Phenomenal offensive line. Phenomenal protection. Nick Foles does not get hit much back there, does not get pressured much overall. And normally that leads to a pretty big run game for the Eagles, but this game it was mostly just protection for Nick Foles as he threw for 352 yards and 3 touchdowns. No picks, really taking apart a Vikings defense that was one of the best in the nation all season.
Yeah, and I guess I'm not shocked that the Vikings went out like this. They had a game like this earlier in the season. I think it was against Green Bay earlier in the season where they just came out and they looked flat. They lost by 20 or so, and everybody was like, what happened to the Vikings defense? And this was a very similar situation, but, they lose a couple. The Steelers. Yep. They lose a couple players to injury last week, and there's a big, I know this is kind of reaching into, mojo territory in sports, but I think there's a guy I read, Bill Simmons, he has a big thing about how, you shouldn't pick a team who celebrated its win like it was their Super Bowl championship.
That's fair. I mean, you got to give it to the Vikings fans. What else are they going to
I'm not
This
saying,
happens to them all the time.
I'm not saying they shouldn't celebrate, but when everybody's like, "Oh wow, we got this. We're good." It's a little disconcerting, but I think I didn't think the Vikings lost this game. I think the Eagles won it.
They didn't just win it; they dominated it.
They did dominate it. And you know what I appreciated the most out of the Eagles is they did not take their foot up off the gas pedal at all.
No.
We're going to talk about that in our next section, but they said, "No, we are stepping on the Vikings' throat. We are not going to get down gun." Even when they were up 31-7, they threw that long pass to Alshon Jeffrey to make it
38-7.
38-7. I was like, "Yeah, that's what you need to do."
They wanted to prove that they were, in fact, the team to go to the Super Bowl this year and that they were going to do their best to win the Super Bowl. And they wanted to show the Vikings that, hey, we're not – I think it's just that underdog mentality again. Yeah, I mean, you've been seeing them the last few weeks running around with the dog masks.
The dog masks, that's ridiculous. You see Chris Long doing that. It's just like, okay.
It works, though.
Hey, they benefit. It benefits
charity. It works out, yeah.
So it's nice. They've bought into this nobody believes in us mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it showed here. I think everybody was picking the Vikings. Everybody says you can't win with Nick Foles. You know, you can't win with a backup in the playoffs. And he went out, and him and the team, they proved him wrong. And that is what you need to do to make it to the Super Bowl. We'll get to the Super Bowl preview in a little bit. I just think it was just a spectacular game in all phases being played by the Eagles.
Yeah.
And we haven't even talked about their defense yet.
No.
They have one of the better defenses in the NFL.
Yeah, they too have a very good defense. And it's not like Minnesota's offense is a buzzsaw that's just going to cut through everybody. But it's a very consistent offense, has some playmakers. Case Keenum has been very smart with the football all season long, makes good throws, safe throws for the most part. Decent offensive line, gives him some time. Running game, you never really know whether McKinnon or Murray is going to do much.
Yeah, I mean, that's the pain and struggle of losing a runner like Dalvin Cook earlier this season. This is a game where you want him. McKinnon and Murray have been on and off my fantasy team all during the regular season, so I followed the Vikings a bunch. So I understand the frustration of Vikings fans when you look at those guys and you're like, I don't know what I'm going to get out of them every game.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, credit to the Eagles defense. They're one of the best. You know, Fletcher Cox, Derek Barnett, as all Nebraska fans know, is amazing. They have a really...
They really got after just... the run game. I mean, McKinnon was the leading rusher with 40 yards. And also, the Vikings were behind early, so they had to start throwing quite a bit.
Yeah.
But Keenum, 28 of 48. They did not make it easy. They did not give him a lot of windows. He had 2 picks in the game.
Probably lost a lot of money this game, Keenum did. Unfortunately for him, but it's a rough end to the season if you're a Vikings fan, which we would know several.
Yeah, I know a lot of them. They're moving on with their life.
As a fan, I'm a fan of the Chargers, and when you're a fan of a perennial disappointment of a team, you learn to take it. You just go, okay, well, next season they'll be better.
Maybe they
not.
got a lot of defensive players coming back. They'll get Dalvin Cook back.
Maybe Teddy Bridgewater.
That's my big question. I've heard a lot of people been asking this. Who do you keep for quarterback? You got 3. I say 2 solid quarterbacks and 1 iffy quarterback coming back. Who do you sign? Who do you keep and stuff?
I mean, I think you roll the dice on Teddy Bridgewater and you take one of Bradford or Keenum.
You take Keenum. I'm sorry, I've never been a Bradford guy. Partly because he's Oklahoma, but I didn't think he was that great in college. He goes to the NFL, gets hurt every year. He's been okay. I think
I would take Keenum. I would let Bradford go and probably stick with Keenum.
Yeah, Keenum proved himself this year.
I think he proved himself that at the very least he's a really good backup, and he should probably earn a spot on a roster somewhere.
Oh, for sure.
That being said,
he also proved that he can lead a team throughout most of the season.
Yeah, exactly. I think you roll the dice on Bridgewater being healthy again.
Oh yeah,
and who knows?
Keep Teddy.
Maybe he's not ever the player he was, and that's a significant possibility. But I think you have to try get them. And then Keenum, I think, proved himself enough over Bradford to be able to stick around. I think that's enough talking about Vikings versus Eagles.
With all this quarterback talk, let's look at the other quarterback matchup.
I'm not even.
No, you don't want to talk about Bortles and Brady.
It would benefit me greatly if I never uttered another word about Blake Bortles ever again. What is there to say about him?
He played very, very well throughout these playoffs throughout the last part of the season.
He played okay.
You're going to tell me that 293 yards and a touchdown against the Patriots and, nearly 70% completion rating, that's bad?
I'm going to lay it on you real fast. The Jaguars says they're
64%.
looking to part ways with him. If he was really that good of a quarterback, they would run it back.
That's fair, but we're talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yes.
Over the last 8-9 seasons, they have not finished better than fourth to last in the league.
They've picked in the top 5 the last 4 drafts.
Exactly.
I don't agree. Blake Bortles is bad. He's a bad quarterback.
He's not. I'm not saying he's great. I'm not saying that he's gonna. Obviously, he didn't quite beat Tom Brady. He beat Big Ben. He outdueled Big Ben. We can say that.
Yes. He isn't awful. He's not an awful quarterback. But if you want to win a Super Bowl, he can't be your starter. By the way, we haven't said the score. I'm sure everybody who's listening knows it. Patriots beat the Jaguars 24-20. Tom Brady, masterclass, the greatest quarterback of all time. I don't think that's in question anymore.
It's hard to say anything else, honestly. Dude was incredible in the fourth quarter. Absolutely incredible.
It's a masterful.
He was shut down for most of the game, and the fourth quarter, he's like, "Yeah, all right, guys, I got it. Don't worry."
Yeah,
and Edelman with the catch. Or Amendola,
it was crazy, and they lost. They lost Gronk.
They lost Gronk right before halftime,
and they didn't have their best offensive weapon the entire second half, down by 2 scores, and they still found a way to come back. And that's like we said. There's not really much to say. That's what you have when you have the greatest quarterback of all time and the greatest NFL coach of all time.
Now the big debate, though, Nate. Were the Jags gypped by the refs?
No.
No?
No.
1 penalty for the Patriots versus, I think it was, 6 or 7?
7? It was 7, I'm pretty sure.
6 or 7 for the Jaguars?
That's a negligible difference. 5, 6 penalties, sometimes that happens. This isn't Nebraska, Texas A&M.
Okay, no. That one we all clearly know what happened, but there was a couple plays. I'm not saying it definitely would have changed the game, but there was a couple plays where I thought there was some questionable call on whether they called it or not. I can't remember the specific plays right now. We're a couple weeks out, but I'm just saying it's something to look at. We know the history of the Patriots. They've had issues like this before. Not quite to this degree, but I don't know.
I don't.
It's hard to say.
They didn't cheat.
I'm not saying they cheated. I'm just saying if you're
the refs didn't give them the game either. What gave the New England the game is the fact that Jacksonville played scared. They played
not to lose in that second half as an offense.
They lost.
They got very conservative. I don't take anything away from the Patriots. I'm just saying there's a couple of plays that you got to be careful with which way you call it. On a penalty, so
you keep stoking that paranoia fire.
You gotta have something interesting going on in sports. Otherwise, it's wins, losses. That's so boring. You gotta have something exciting behind the scenes, kind of to look for.
No, you don't.
Why not? If your team doesn't win, there's got to be a reason other than they're just bad, right?
No, it could actually be that they're just bad. I think we spent the entire second half of the Nebraska football season literally just going we're bad.
No,
not much to say about that, but
that's fair.
Not that the Jacksonville Jaguars are a bad team, but I just think
they're a pretty good team if they make it to the AFC Championship after drafting 5th or higher in the last 5 drafts.
They were good. They were good. Don't get me wrong, but their offense just played stagnant. I listened to an interview by Stephon Gilmore. He's the cornerback for the Patriots, and he was the one that tipped that pass.
Yeah. That was a phenomenal. I remember that incredible defensive play right there. That's how you play defensive.
He made a great play, but when he was talking in the interview, he said, "Oh, I recognize this. Jacksonville had ran that play 2 times before in the game." Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying you can't run the same play you can't run the same play in a football game because obviously you're going to run the same play every once in a while in a football game, but like 3 times?
Yeah.
That's one of those.
I don't know if it's one of your go-tos, I can understand it, but incredible recognition by that player, Gilmore.
It was good.
See that,
and
make the play.
And he was a guy that got a little... The guy was getting a little dumped on at the beginning of the season when they had bad D.
Yep.
He was kind of one getting a lot of the lion's share of the blame.
Well,
but
the Patriots' pass defense is
they're not good in general.
No, they've struggled all season. So I don't know. I thought this was definitely the better game of the two, which was surprising because we all thought the Eagles-Vikings was going to be crazy.
I thought the Patriots were going to waffle stomp the Jaguars. In all honesty, this had a
waffle stomp.
I just stop. I just had a feeling that this was going to be one of those games where New England was going to be up 14-0 with 6 minutes to go in the first quarter, and everybody picked the Jaguars. That was like, the Jaguars might be scary, or going to be like, oh yeah, maybe we shouldn't have bet against Brady and Belichick. But
again,
they played well.
I was saying it all season. This Jaguars defense, watch out for them in the future. Watch out for them this year. They got them. Their defense got them to this point.
Yes.
Through next couple years, that's a young defense, very young defense, especially in the secondary.
They can definitely pick it apart, and if they get a quarterback, I know they said they were trying to angle for Alex Smith or Kirk Cousins in free agency.
Would be good.
That would, I think, put them over, I think, the hump that they would be an actual Super Bowl contender.
That's fair.
But who knows about that? Jaguars lose. Patriots moving on for the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 52.
So sad. The Vikings couldn't quite be the hometown team.
I know.
But hey, we should be in for a good game. A little rematch of.
I think this is going to be a good game.
2000 Super
I really
Bowl.
do.
Remember, I think it was 3rd grade when Eagles and Patriots met in the Super Bowl last time. I think I was in 3rd grade.
Yeah, I mean, we're the same age, so.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, back in the day, they had a little bit different style teams there. I mean, they had Brady, but I mean, Eagles, that's a totally different team. You're looking at McNabb, Brian Westbrook, Brian Dawkins, all those teams, all those guys. Very different Eagles team matching up against the Patriots. Before we get into dive any details and stuff, who are you taking?
I'm Patriots.
Patriots, huh?
The GOAT and the GOAT. I'm not going to bet against them, honestly. If you told me and said, here's $100, you have to put it on one of the teams, I would say Patriots. Brady and Belichick, man. Can't go against them.
That's fair. It is hard. It is incredibly hard to bet against them.
Especially against the backup quarterback. We just praised Foles for 10 minutes earlier, but it's the Super Bowl, man. He's a backup quarterback.
He is a backup quarterback. He's playing really well, though. I mean,
he is.
He's making very smart throws. He's racking up the yards and stuff.
Listen.
Patriots don't have that good a pass defense.
No. I don't think this game isn't going to be a blowout. I don't think so.
No.
I think because the Patriots defense isn't that good, and I think the Eagles defense is pretty good, I think this will be a fairly close game in a lot of respects. I just think that having the greatest quarterback of all time, the greatest coach of all time, tends to have benefits.
It helps a little bit. Yeah, you're not wrong. I'm excited to see Brady manage this defense that the Eagles are going to bring at them, though, because as I said going into a couple weeks ago, Brady has not seen a defense like the Jaguars. He struggled for quite a while with that Jaguars defense until the 4th quarter. And then he picked them apart and got his couple touchdowns.
I think the key for the Eagles defense is to give them a happy feet. Fletcher Cox, Derek Barnett.
Yeah. Bring the rush.
If they can get a Patriots offensive line, it's an okay offensive line, but it's nothing special. And they can pressure him, get in Brady's head. Who knows what they're going to get out of Gronk this week? I assume he'll be back. I mean, it's the Super Bowl. Even if he couldn't spell, they'd put him back in there. Don't sue me, NFL. But
you're not wrong. No, Brady and the Patriots have not seen a defense quite like this.
Well, they did. They just did last week.
The Jaguars' defense and the Eagles' defense, they play in very different styles.
I guess. You're right.
I mean, the Jaguars are much more turnover prone just because of their their talent in the secondary and their talent at linebacker, their speed. The Eagles are much more speedy up front.
The Eagles have a much better defensive front seven than the Jaguars do.
The Jaguars are in the backs.
Yeah.
The defensive backs, the safeties, they're their primary playmakers. So
the Eagles do rely a lot on their defensive ends or outside linebackers.
Holding down the run game.
Yeah.
So
because, Jacksonville had a terrible run defense. Like, they were adjusted DVOA 29th in rushing defense. And the Eagles, I don't know the stats, but I'm sure they're much better.
Yeah, they're a lot higher. I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting game. I think I'm probably leaning towards the Patriots. You're right, the GOAT. It's hard to pick against Tom Brady. It's just nearly impossible because the man does not lose.
Yes, say what you will about the Tom. You talk about a snake oil salesman, how he thinks drinking water cures sunburns, but he's the best quarterback of all time. Can't say much about it.
He can say what he wants then. When he plays like he does.
See, did you see? This is unrelated to the Super Bowl, but did you see the radio host thing with Tom Brady the other day?
I did not.
Apparently, he called into a radio show, and because Tom Brady released something on Facebook, he released I hate bringing it up, but the Ball in the Family, the Ball family on Facebook.
Oh, LeVar.
Yeah, Tom Brady made one about his family for Facebook.
Oh no.
And he released it, and his kids are in it, and then
oh no,
there's a radio show host that does interviews, a weekly interview with him.
Okay.
And the radio show saw the show and called Brady's 5-year-old daughter a pissant. And
what?
I don't know what that word means. I'm smart. I think it means a suck up.
Okay.
I'm here. An insignificant or contemptible person or thing. Thanks,
what?
Google. And then Brady went on the radio show, was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do this radio show with you guys anymore.
I would be upset. It's not something you call. That's not something you call anybody, let alone someone's daughter.
Yeah, a kid. Don't do that.
Don't call a 5-year-old that.
That was completely unrelated to the Super Bowl. I just kind of wanted to bring it up because I read that story this morning, and I was like, what?
Fair enough.
I don't know. It was really weird, but the Super Bowl preview, yeah, I think it'll be a close game, mostly because I think the way the Patriots defense...
You think we're going to get anything as crazy as last year?
No, I don't think so. That was an all-time craziness.
Unbelievable.
We were watching it at your house.
Yeah,
I was just we couldn't believe it. When Edelman made that fingertip catch, we were just we all were like, no. And then we saw him get it, and everybody was like, he caught that. He caught that.
We're just in shock. Well, I don't know. Hey, we're having another party this year. Maybe the magic is party at Alex's house, and then we have a magical Super Bowl every year.
I hope so. I'd be down. I'd be down for an all-time game.
Never not going to say no to a great game.
Now, one thing that I really want to do, I found this online over lunch today, and I thought it would be really fun for us to do this quarter before we go to break. This is the Super Bowl 52 prop bet sheet.
Prop bet sheet. What is that?
They're weird things you can bet on during games, how long the national anthem's going to be.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And
What's the coin toss going to be or something? Okay.
I'm gonna run down through a bunch of these yes/no predictions.
Okay.
Don't look it up, and we're gonna find out what we're gonna pick. So,
all right.
These are yes or no. Will a player kneel during the national anthem?
No, not for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think yes.
Okay.
I don't know if they'll show it on TV, but I think they will.
Fair enough.
Will Pink say Eagles during her anthem appearance? I don't know enough about Pink.
I don't know if is she from Philly or something?
I think so.
Sure, why not? I'll give a yes to that. Pink's a little radical.
Will there be a successful 2-point conversion?
Yeah.
I think so too. Will there be a special teams or defensive touchdown?
Defensive touchdown.
Will there be a safety?
No.
Will there be a failed coach's challenge?
Yes.
Ooh.
Doug Peterson is horrible at coach's challenge.
Really?
Yeah. Did you see the game?
Oh, yeah. No,
he had those really dumb ones.
I remember.
I'm like, what are you wasting those challenges for? There's no reason to challenge that. No, Doug Peterson's going to fail 1, if not 2.
Will there be a missed field goal?
Jake Elliott and
Jake Elliott's really weird. He misses like 20-yarders and then nails 50-yarders.
Yeah. For a rookie, I mean, Super Bowl big stage, I don't know.
I don't think Steven Gostkowski is going to miss a field goal, but
Good God, no. But I don't know.
will there be a 50-plus yard field goal?
Yes. Both those guys can just bomb it. I
think so.
I can see a 50-yarder. Any other ones?
Will New England score last in the first half? Now, that's one of those ones that's like, you just throw your hands up. You're like, I don't know, I suppose.
If Brady has the ball with under 4 minutes, yes. Or under 2 minutes even.
I mean, we saw that in Jacksonville, in the Jacksonville game. He just had the ball with 4 minutes left.
Yeah.
I was just like, they're going to score.
Just like, all right, we got to hold him for a little bit. They held him a little bit. Brady's moving a little, like kind of slowly down the field, and then just a couple bombs, they're down the field.
Yeah, field goal. Woo.
No, they had a touchdown at the end of half.
They did. Yeah, that's right. They did have that touchdown. Like I said 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Will there be a scoreless quarter?
I don't think with these two offenses.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
Will Philadelphia have the lead at halftime?
Yes. And it's going to spell bad news for them.
That's like my big one. I was like, I think they will have the lead at halftime. It's like the Jacksonville one. That's like Georgia. Everybody's like, when Georgia went into halftime with a lead, I was like, oh, Alabama's totally going to win this game.
Yeah.
Will there be a successful fourth down conversion?
Yes.
I think so too. Will a touchdown be scored of 1 yard or less? I'm going to go no. I don't think so.
I think it's going to be from... Yeah, I don't think we're going to get any big goal line pushes right in this kind of game.
I don't think
with
so
these
either.
teams. Not a lot of... I mean, Eagles have a power kind of run game, but they don't use it quite as much. They haven't been using it quite as much with Foles in, and they still like to get their backs out on the edge and screen plays and stuff like that, so... And Brady just tosses it to everybody, so...
All right, so this is a Justin Timberlake-related question.
Oh, no.
Will his first song when he comes in be Can't Stop the Feeling?
Oh, most definitely. Yes. I will put money on that one.
Does he sing a Prince song?
Ooh.
That's a good one, right?
I like that. I could. If the Vikings were there, it'd be a for sure yes. Like Purple Rain was gonna be played, or a Kiss or something like that. But I don't know. That's tough. In Minnesota, I'll take a yes on that. I want to hear some Prince.
All right, last one. Will he sing "Sexy Back" before "Rock Your Body"? Alex, you got to answer this question. Search your knowledge. You know it to be true.
Yeah, he will. He will.
Okay, we'll do a couple ones about commercials, and then we'll cut to our own commercial break.
All right.
Will the first ad in the first quarter include an animal?
The first ad in the first quarter?
Yeah, the first commercial of the game. Will it have an animal in it?
I'm going to go no, because I feel like Bud Light's going to take that spot.
Okay, sounds
Although
good.
they might have a goat and turn the goat into Bud Light or something like that.
Over under. The word dilly said over 12 times in an ad.
Over.
That's the easiest over all night.
Yes. I love that.
And then the last one that I'm going to give to you. The color of liquid dumped on the winning head coach. Is it going to be clear, yellow, orange, red, green, blue, or purple? Does lemon lime count as green or yellow?
Lemon lime counts as yellow.
It's yellow. I'm picking yellow.
I'll go orange.
All right. I kind of want to print this off and do one with you.
We'll do that after the show. We'll get one set up.
I kind of want to.
We should print off a bunch of these. Just have everybody at the party fill them out.
Yeah, I think so too. It would be really fun.
Yeah, that'd be a great social experiment. All right. We'll get to work on that during our commercial break, and we'll be back in just a little bit with the second string. Stay tuned on KRNU2.
All righty.
Why don't we have anything to eat?
Those are words you never want to hear as a parent. But unfortunately, putting food on the table is a constant struggle for many low-income families here in Lincoln, and they don't have the necessary skills to get and maintain a job. They rely on volunteers at the Center for People in Need that can help them through the struggle. You can make a difference in their lives by getting involved in one of the many volunteer programs that the Center for People in Need offers. For more information, please visit centerforpeopleinneed.org.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Having a place to go after school will make you a better student. Having an outlet to express yourself will make you a better artist. Having something to do together will make you a better family. At the Y, we're helping build better friends, listeners, writers, swimmers, scientists, and musicians, one chance at a time. Give the gift of opportunity. Support the Y at ymca.net. The Y, for a better us.
I'm Demi Lovato. Living with bipolar disorder, there were so many times that I felt like I was alone. The hardest part was dealing with my bipolar depression. I finally hit rock bottom and decided to get help. Then slowly things started to change. For me, it takes speaking up, finding the right treatment plan, and getting back to what I love.
I will be rising from the ground like a skyscraper.
Visit BeVocalSpeakUp.com to use your voice to make a difference. That's BeVocalSpeakUp.com.
Welcome back to the second string. Do not worry, I will not make Nate sing like Demi Lovato for us.
I tried.
You tried. I'm glad that nobody was able to hear it like I was. But
No, you that was me. I turned the PSA off, and
you have Demi Lovato's voice. That's
yeah,
great
I do.
Great to know.
I'm a good impersonator.
Well, we're gonna stop talking about music. We're gonna get back to some sports, and how about some local sports for our hometown Huskers, Nebraska ball. What more can we say? We're rocking right now.
We're doing good.
Both men and women on a couple-game win streak. Women got 4 in a row right now. Men, 4 out of their last 5. A close loss at Ohio State last week.
Yep.
Otherwise, just dominated in this past weekend. 98-84 over Iowa, the most recent win. You were there, Nate, filming on the sidelines.
I was.
On the side court.
Yes. Well, I was on the baseline.
Oh yeah, okay. You're under the hoop again?
Yeah,
okay.
under the hoop. So it was a fantastic game. It was the most bumping I've seen Pinnacle this season, and why I haven't been there in person for too many men's games, probably only about 5 or 6. It was definitely the most energy I've seen all night, and that's because Nebraska doesn't get too many primetime games, so the Pinnacle was packed. It was completely filled. And it's, for the amount of history and success we've had as a basketball program, I think people really come out and give us support as a team. And that was really nice. Like you said,
very true.
We beat Iowa 98-84. It was not the type of win I think Coach Miles wanted. I was listening to his press conference this morning before I went to class, and he was talking about how a team like Iowa really stretches your defense, and we had one of the worst defensive performances we've had all season.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, we've had one of the best offensive performances we've had all season.
Oh, for sure. 98 points. You don't see that very often from the Huskers.
No, and you look at the points. We had, James Palmer Jr., good old JPJ.
JPJ has been
had
phenomenal
28
this year.
Isaac Copeland had 23. There really are 1-2 punch. It harkens back to 2014 when we had Teron Petaway and Siobhan Shields as the nice 1-2. And honestly, I think they're even better than both of them.
Really?
In my opinion. Maybe not better than Siobhan.
Siobhan was pretty good. He was fun to watch. I remember our first couple of years going to watch him, and that was a lot of fun.
But I think they're just a really nice 1-2. I think they're a lot more likable than those two guys on a personal level.
Siobhan was a nice guy.
Siobhan was nice.
Petaway.
He was going through some things.
Yeah, he did.
His last couple of years. So I guess I can't really blame him too much for that. But
regardless, though, this team been playing very well for their youth. I mean, very young team. Not quite as young as we've had the last couple of years, but
they're mostly sophomores and juniors.
Yeah, again, not a lot of game experience for some of these guys. We had a couple transfers, so they've had to sit out a year and things like that. But they're playing really well. honestly, I think that we have a shot at a tournament bid.
We have a shot.
A little
It's,
outside looking in, but
like on the very outside looking in.
it's possible. I mean, first of all, nobody knows what the tournament's going to look like with how many teams get upset every day in college basketball. I mean,
No.
this season's been insane with upsets. I would not want to be in the top 4 because having that number next to my name just means bad news.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
Kansas got upset this past weekend.
They did. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's like going to be easy to make the tournament because it's not. We're going to need to basically win out. We need
some big wins. We got a couple big road games coming up tonight, actually, starting off at Wisconsin.
Yes.
Right after our show, so we'll be going to tune into that.
Yeah, I'm gonna be going straight home and watching that while I do a little bit more homework tonight. But for the team, I mean, looking at this Iowa game, I think it's paramount. We can't lose very many games. The Big Ten's not very good this year as a conference for basketball.
Nope. Yeah, definitely need to win our conference games, and the remaining schedule we have very winnable.
Yes.
We had a much heavier front half of the schedule. And so I think that's going to play in our favor right now.
Yeah.
Because we managed it pretty well throughout. So it's just, I don't know. It's going to be tough. You never really know truly what you're going to get from.
Basketball is tough, especially Nebraska basketball, because I think we're better than every single one of the teams we're going to play the rest of the season.
We probably won't play like we're better, though.
No.
Than a couple of them.
Exactly. I don't think we're going to win all the rest of them, and I don't think we can afford to lose. The only game I think we can afford to lose, quote unquote, is the Maryland game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
that's at home though. You gotta win those at home.
I know, but they're the only team that I think that is good enough that we can afford to lose to. Maybe Minnesota on the road, maybe, but we can't afford to drop more than one game if we want to make the tournament. And, that's due to a few factors. We're right up against the edge of the bubble. I mean, because, not against the edge of the bubble, but we're right on the outside of the eliminated bubble. Because of some of the sloppy play we've had earlier in the season. Our close game against Creighton that we just fumbled away. We had bad losses against St. John's and UCF to open the season. The 1-point loss against Kansas is the one that really hurts.
Penn State.
The Penn State OT loss.
That was, It's definitely a game you should have finished.
It's been frustrating, but I think if we play the way we did tonight, and you look at the score and you think 98-84, they didn't play that good, but if we play the way we did tonight...
Saturday night.
Yeah, Saturday night. I mean, we play like the team. We know we can be. I think we can win out. We definitely can. I mean, James Palmer and Isaac Copeland, like I've already said, are as good a 1-2 punch as any I think we've ever had in Nebraska history, in all honesty. And speaking of the X factor, if you can get what you got out of Jordy Shimanga on Saturday night,
I wouldn't bank on that.
I mean, I was
very impressed. I was very excited, as Husker Nation usually is.
I wouldn't bank on it either. But he's the type of player you need to get these consistent performances out of.
Yeah.
If you can get, I'm not even talking like double figures. If he can just get 8 and 8 every night.
Yeah.
I think that would be a big boon to our team because he's a big man that we just have to have. Because you looked at the game on Saturday, and what was the thing we struggled with? Tyler Cook, a big athletic big man that just kind of manhandled. He took Roby, he took Isaac Copeland, and he just kind of did whatever he wanted to them on the defensive end, and that's where we've struggled.
Especially crashing the boards too.
Yeah,
I mean,
there were several sequences where Iowa got 2 offensive rebounds. Yep. And it was like, and we did end up beating them on the board. We're one of the worst rebounding teams in the nation, Power 5 wise.
Yeah. Again, it's not going to be easy by any means, but I feel like we were walking around campus. There's some buzz about Nebraska basketball.
There's some buzz.
That's not a normal thing.
No.
Nebraska ball has been down the last few years. Everybody's wondering why did we even bring Tim Miles back this season? A lot of people.
I was wondering that.
I was too. I was fearful that he'd make it in a few games and then we'd be done. But then we had the football stuff, so we had to take care of that first. But I don't know. His contract's up at the end of this year, so we'll see where that plays out.
We're definitely extending him after this year.
You think so?
Yeah, you can't fire a guy after one of this is even if let's say we go 500 and we end up the season 19-11. That's still one of the best seasons in Nebraska history, probably.
That's fair. I don't know. He's got. We'll see. We'll see where that goes. I don't want to make any assumptions right now.
Let's see where it goes. The one person that I do want more from is Glenn Watson Jr.
I've always wanted, since he was a freshman, I've wanted more from him.
And listening to Tim Miles' press conference, he was talking about Glenn in a manner. He said, Glenn's had to struggle a little bit. He went from being the primary, secondary scorer both his freshman and his sophomore years to now this year we have 2 or 3 players who are probably better at the ball going through them than Glenn Watson is. Glenn Watson's better as a distributor. He's better as a guy who plays strong defense. We have Isaiah Roby and Isaac Copeland and James Palmer that probably should have the ball in their hands more than Glenn Watson, at least in a scoring sense. But I still think it would be nice if we could get more than 4 points out of him.
Oh yeah, no, his efficiency is always. He's always struggled with that in games. And he'll have one big game kind of early in the year, just kind of fade out the rest of the year, and you never really know where he's at on the court. So I'm hoping, you're right, these last few games he can step up, help out a little bit, again, get those assists, distribute it out, but also just make some plays of his own. He's got a good jumper. He's got a good dribble for sure. He can get people off balance, create some space for his shots. I don't know. I'm looking for more from him.
I am too. And hopefully they can get this Wisconsin win. I predicted that we'd lose this Wisconsin game tonight, mostly because we're coming off a rough stretch. This is our 3rd road game in a week. This is our 4th game in a week.
Yep.
It's every Big Ten team has had to worry about that. When we blew out Michigan, that was their 4th game in a week.
Yeah.
And
a little bit of fatigue might be setting in.
Blame Jim Delaney for that. He squeezed schedules in order for us to get to Madison Square Garden for the Big Ten championship tournament. But I think there's room for looking up. I wouldn't expect tournament success. I think we'll drop a couple of games, probably 2 or 3 down the stretch. But even still, going 19-11, 20-10, making the NIT, which we will, I think, will be a good time. It'll be a fun time. It's one of the better.
It's a step forward for Nebraska ball.
Yes.
It's a step forward.
Now let's talk about the other Nebraska
the
ball.
Ladies.
Can I just come out and say this? I love this team.
I'll do too. I mean, you work every game, so you're there every time. But
I've seen every home game. So.
Yeah, and then I go to just about as many as I can with the ladies. A lot of our friends come out. I always love it because I'm guaranteed to get on the big screen with you running the camera. So
yes,
much appreciated.
I think every time you've come, I've got you.
Yes, you have. So much appreciated. But no, these ladies are doing really well. They've lost 1 game out of their last 8.
Yes,
and it was an overtime game that you said there's a little couple questionable calls at the end of it.
I've
that
heard
was the
some,
Michigan one.
Yeah, there's some few questionable calls, but I think we ended up losing that game fair and square.
Yeah, but still overtime game, so tough loss no matter what.
Against a top
25 team. Yeah, so 1 loss out of the last 8. They've been on a roll. They've got a fairly manageable schedule, apart from 2 games with 11th ranked Maryland over the past couple weeks.
We play 4 teams in the bottom. We play 4 out of the bottom 5 teams in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
and the women's game is a little bit more opened up, I should say, top to bottom. Like the weaker teams are much more weaker than the good teams are good. It's not the men's basketball. Like I would be like Illinois is way down in the bottom of the dumps of the conference in men's, and I would not go say and be like, oh, if we go to Illinois, we're just going to cream them.
Yeah.
But the Illinois women are 2-9 or something. So okay. I would feel pretty confident in our team going to their place.
And just based off the last few games, I mean, I was at the Purdue game last Wednesday.
Yep.
Phenomenal. I mean, our girls
they played so good.
Passing very well. Defensively, Purdue could not get anything to fall.
And apparently, against Iowa, they played even better.
Yeah, they scored 92 against Iowa.
Like, when was the last time you've seen... This is, teams, all the good teams, like UConn scores 100
UConn, Tennessee, Stanford.
They score in the 90s a while, but I can't remember the last time Nebraska scored in the 90s.
No, not for women's basketball. And you're right. These girls are playing very well together. Our friend Bailey and I, we go to a lot of the games. You see us there, and we were talking about this after the Purdue game. But a couple of we just like the style that each player brings to the game. When you have seniors like Jasmine Sincor, and then you have a junior like Maddie Simon, experienced players. Sincor knows the game like the back of her hand.
Yes.
I mean, there was a couple. She drew 2 charges, which on any other player, that's a block. Like, they don't get their feet set. They don't get ready for it. But Sincor just has the quickness, and she has the know-how on just how to get ready, how to get in that spot, and manages the game really well. She's kind of level-headed, keeps the team kind of even keel. And then you have Maddie Simon, again, another experienced player, a junior, kind of the firecracker on the team.
Yeah,
definitely gets people going and scores a lot.
She's hard-nosed. And recently, in the last couple weeks, she's begun to have a little bit of an offensive renaissance. She was not the leading scorer against Purdue. I'm trying to think who we played before.
Rutgers.
Not Rutgers either. It was home. It was a home game.
Iowa?
It was the other Iowa. It was the last
Iowa.
Iowa game. She was the leading scorer, and she was the leading scorer against Iowa on Sunday. And she's beginning to score and be on offense a lot better than she has been in the past, and that's just really good for our team.
Yeah, and 2 of the people that have come on kind of later in the season, I didn't notice them quite as much early in the year, like last semester when we were going to the games, but Nicaea and Janae.
Well, both of them were injured to start the year.
Okay, I did not know that.
They were both injured. Nicaea came back probably 4 or 5 games into the season.
Okay.
And Janae only came back, I think, late into December. I think she was back. So she's been working her way back into the lineup.
Okay.
And
Well, that's good.
Both of them have been playing really well.
Oh, phenomenal. With Nicaea, great offensive scorer, but just both sides of the ball, manages her role really well. She knows where she needs to be, and
now Nicaea, she has great length. Her arms are so long.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, she could. It feels like she could just reach and touch both sides of the court without moving a foot.
Yeah, she has crazy length.
She's very hard to get around and very nice shot. She can create, again, kind of like Glenn Watson, has a good dribble and is able to just create a lot of space between her and a defender with that length to get a shot off pretty quickly.
Exactly. And Janae is just she's so
animal on defense. Oh my goodness.
She is so great at on-ball pressure. She gets up into grills. She doesn't reach. She reaches sometimes, but that's when you're that in-your-face defender, that's just kind of the territory you come with, is you get 1 or 2 of those poking fouls per game. But she's so good. Every game I've seen her in that she's come in, she's had 1 or 2 steals for a layup. And if she can develop into that second guard off the bench, because I like some of the players. I like Emily and I like Bria Stallworth, but they're not like that consistent bench player that I think you need to be the backup to get consistent minutes. And if Janae can continue to do this throughout she had 13 points against Iowa. She had 9 straight points at the end of the first quarter that started us on that big run. But if she can develop into this consistent bench player, when the tournaments start coming and we have to shorten our bench, if she can develop into that starter, I think it would be a very big boon to this team.
Definitely. And again, just her tenacity on defense, the way she harasses other people. Watching her against Purdue was incredible because Purdue didn't want anything to do with her.
No.
Anytime she stepped up to guard something, they would pass it away very quickly. And they did not want her near the ball. And I don't know, she seemed to scare them, honestly.
She does scare. It's kind of, I don't know how best to phrase it, but the pressure, it's a lot harder. The women on the women's side of the basketball spectrum, it's a little bit less. They're a little bit less equipped to handle pressure, which is, I think, not the correct way to say it, because I've seen women's teams press way more than I've seen men's teams do.
They typically do.
But I think this, like, in your face, I'm just going to be within a foot of you like all the way down the court. I don't think there's many players in the NCAA that really do that. And to have somebody who can put that pressure, 90 feet from the basket, it's just really hard, and sometimes it's really hard to get used to. It kind of throws you off. You just say, I'm just going to pass it, and somebody else can, make a play.
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely excited for the rest of the season with the ladies.
I am
They've been
too.
playing really well. I mean, maybe in a Big Ten championship caliber.
I think too. Can I bring up one more thing about the women's team?
Go for it.
I think one of the best things, and I gush because I've seen most every game. I've seen all the ones on Big Ten, BTN too, but that have been available. But I think Amy Williams has just been a fantastic coach this year.
Yes, and it's so good to see everybody working within the system and believing in the system. Only her second year, huge turnaround from last year where we had players who weren't really buying into it and weren't really clicking. Jess Shepard, she left, and then we had a couple other people. It's nice to see everybody just kind of even out and really buy into Amy Williams and want to play for her.
And the best thing about her coaching, I think, is the minutes spread she's done in the regular season. This is where you can go all 12 on the bench. You want to know, against Iowa, I have the box score up. You want to know what out of 40 minutes, Maddie Simon was the person who played the most, and she only played 25 minutes that entire game. Yep. 25. Oh, I guess Hannah Whitish played 27. Never mind. But I mean, that's
that's your starting point guard.
I think every player is averaging under 25 minutes played per game, which is super nice in the regular season, just to avoid that burnout. I'm sure James Palmer's averaging probably close to 30.
He was averaging 30
minutes per game, which is good. I mean, I'm sure the women could handle averaging 30 minutes a game too, but it's nice to not wear them down as much.
Yeah. Again, much like the men's team, very young team for the girls.
Like even younger than the men. Like we said, the men's were mostly juniors and sophomores. This team is mostly freshmen and sophomores.
Yeah,
we're gonna see a lot of improvement, and I'd expect this core to be really good in 2 years or so.
Definitely.
All right, so.
Well, Nate, we've talked about college basketball. Well, Nebraska college basketball. I'm not sure I want to try to figure out what NCAA men's basketball is looking like right now because that's just been a mess all season.
I don't either.
I think March Madness will start to even some out, but I don't even want to guess until then.
I think so too. We'll definitely have some discussion about it next week.
Oh, for sure. But just some updated sported news. NBA-wise, big news today. What'd you see?
Are we talking about the Blake Griffin thing?
We're talking about Blake Griffin, man.
He got traded.
He's going to Detroit.
I can't believe. I told you before the show that this is not surprising in the slightest, and I'm going to stand by that.
Yeah, we know they've been in rumors like before with Blake Griffin, and they've been looking to shop him around before. And with the way this season's going, with the way the outlook for the NBA looks for the next few years, not a bad time to look at a rebuild. Send Blake Griffin off. They're looking to shop Lou Williams. They're looking to shop DeAndre Jordan. Get some young guys, get some picks, kind of revamp their organization again and rebuild to a new team. We know the Warriors. We know the Cavs. We know the Celtics even. The Clippers are going to be irrelevant for a while. That's just how the NBA is going to work. I know you said you had a rant about the NBA.
Oh, I didn't say I had a rant about the NBA. I'm a big, big picture guy in the NBA. I don't really have a favorite team. I have a Memphis Grizzlies shirt, but
what
that's more
about
of a
your
joke.
Golden State Warriors hat sitting right here?
I mean, trust me, I'm a big Golden State fan as anybody, and from the Bay. But
oh my goodness,
I'm more of a big picture guy, and outside of my boy Steph, I don't really have to. I can't even maintain.
You can't say that with a straight face.
No, I can't. But I've just been struggling these last year or two, I think, in watching the NBA. I like not knowing who's going to win the championship.
That's fair. I mean, you're right.
I like watching the basketball game. I caught part of the game between the Celtics Warriors a few nights ago.
I heard that was a good game. I did not get to watch it. But
I only watched about 4 or 5 minutes of it because I was busy doing some other things, but it was a nice game when I watched it. I like watching basketball. I like watching the NBA. I like watching the good players, but just getting me to care about the entire season has been a bit of a struggle, and I do care. I still care. I mean, a lot of people are like, I'm out on the NBA until the Warriors go away, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
You still gotta watch. I mean, it's still great games, still great talent and stuff.
But it's just, I wish I didn't know who was going to win the championship.
yeah. You don't know
in
who's going to
November.
win the East. I mean, that's the one mystery we got.
Celtics.
Who's going to lose to the Warriors?
The Celtics.
You're going to doubt LeBron?
Yeah.
This is like doubting Tom Brady.
Oh, no, don't do this to me.
This is like you said a couple weeks ago. Are you really going to pick Georgia? Like, are you really going to say no to Alabama winning a national title if they're in the game?
I said no to
Are you
Alabama
really
winning
going
the
to
national
say
title.
no to Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl? Are you
No.
going to say no to LeBron getting to the NBA Finals?
You're probably right. Well, let's talk but let's talk in a week. Make sure the Cavs are not a dysfunctional mess. Yeah, you know,
Kind of back on track. Kevin Love played a game, so
all the Kevin Love news out of the last year. I'm like, I was expecting the Kevin Love secretly Jesus narrative, how much he was being extolled during these weeks. It's
team
like
meetings and
yeah,
stuff.
it's like
yeah.
it's like okay, it's like Kevin Love. He's not that big of a chemistry and dysfunction there.
No.
That whole team is just weird. It's bad. It's poorly constructed. It's a lot of short-term thinking that's kind of going bust right now.
That's
You know,
fair.
bad contracts to Tristan Thompson and J.R. Smith is just leading to a real not good thing. But Blake Griffin, we started this at Blake Griffin being traded.
Yeah, well,
But he still got traded. He's a second-tier star with a large injury history.
yeah.
He got traded for pennies on the dollar, honestly. Avery Bradley, Tobias Harris, Boban, who's he's a really weird story.
What's his story? I
He's
actually don't know
one
too
of
much
he's
about
one
him.
of the most efficient offensive players of all time, but he's so bad at defense he just can't play at all. They can't play him.
Okay.
It's not interesting from like a life story, but
okay.
in terms of like pure like advanced statistics, it's just so interesting the dynamic because he's so good on offense, but he's so bad on defense that you just can't play him.
Gotcha. One other big news story, NBA-wise, from this weekend. I saw the highlight and I just felt bad. DeMarcus Cousins, Boogie, going down, torn Achilles.
It's rough. It's so rough, and
It's worse when you see the play because
I
it's in the,
didn't see it, and I don't.
all
want
he was
to.
doing, he's just running after a rebound. Doesn't like hit anybody's foot. He just simply like jumps up a little bit, steps down, and then he grabs his leg, and you just know that he drops it. He can't step on it. It's kind of not necessarily away from the ball because he was going after the ball, but no contact injury, and it's one of those that you just hate to see because
and the Achilles
he's been having a great year.
And the Achilles, he was having a great year, and the Achilles is such a rough injury to come back from. It's one of the few injuries in professional basketball that when it happens, you're like, uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think somebody calculated out on social media and said that it ends about 30% of players' careers when they have it.
I could see it.
And even
rough
if
injury.
it doesn't end DeMarcus's career, he's never going to be the same player that he is again.
Definitely not.
And it's just so depressing because he was one of the better big men in the league, and he was really fun to watch. And I wanted to be famous enough that he could block me on Twitter because he blocks everybody on Twitter that disagrees with him. So I wanted to be famous enough that he'd block me. You know,
that'd be fun.
Rest in peace. I don't have a Twitter account, but like I said, sucks. You know, heart goes out to Boogie. Heart goes out to the Pelicans fans who just had their season tank
Yeah.
in an instant, and heart goes out to AD. He doesn't want to play the center. Too bad. Now he has to.
Yeah, you got to move down, AD. All right, last big question for you, Nate. Team Steph or Team Bron?
Team LeBron.
Team LeBron?
LeBron and KD, man.
LeBron and KD, but Steph has the Greek Freak, man. The Greek Freak.
KD and LeBron still better than the Greek Freak.
Yeah, but the Greek Freak's on the rise. I love watching Giannis. That dude, he can ball out.
He's going to win the MVP and win the title one day. I mean, there's no doubt in my
hope
mind.
so. He deserves it. He's a hardworking kid, and he's just fun to watch. He's absolutely fun to watch.
It'll be a good one. I think it'll be a fun, even if, and LeBron picked Kyrie and Durant, so that's kind of funny. But
That's a tough. I don't know.
though he did pick DeMarcus.
He got
but
DeMarcus
he-
Cousins is switched with Paul George now. Paul George is in the mix.
Paul George is a defensive major. All right. Well, we've already ran way over time.
We got 15 seconds.
We do have 15 seconds. Oh, this one's a bit fast.
Look at the wrong clock.
We've burned all these 15 seconds anyway, just by stating there's 15 seconds. All right, guys. This has been the Second String. I hope you've really enjoyed it. I think this has been a really good show. I don't know. Tune in. We're here on Mondays.
We got Super Bowl coverage next week. So
We'll bring all the post game things next
hopefully
week.
we got a lot to talk about.
We will. Don't worry. There's always more to talk about in the sports world. We're here on KRNU2 every Monday, 7 to 8 p.m. I'm your host, Nate Muehlbach, with Alex Fernando. Signing off. Have a good night, guys.
Go Big Red.